Hey guys, it's the Wizard of Mar, and welcome back. Today I'm going to be showing you my top 10 decks of cards. Now, let's get into this. In number 10, we have the Bicycle Standard deck of playing cards. Now, I know you've heard this a lot, but the Bicycle Standard and the Bicycle Riderback are just cheap, decent decks of cards, and they just handle very nice. The back design is also okay. And this deck, all in all, is just a very nice deck. And every magician, almost always, will have at least one of the Bicycle Standards in their collection. And the Bicycle Standard / Riderback just definitely deserves this position of 10. Now, in number 9, we have the White Artisans by Theory 11. Now, this is a very artistic deck. There is a very nice Ace of Spades here on the front. It says right here, the Guild of Artisans. This deck is just a very nice deck. Now, getting inside of it, just in basic handling, you have 2 jokers, a double backer. It handles okay. The stock is a bit thicker than what I would have liked, which is why it only got number 9. But it handles relatively decent, and it got number 9 just because the handling is okay, the back design is really, really cool, and all around, it's a very decent deck. Now, let's move on to the number 8 deck. Which deck gets number 8 in this collection? Now, in number 8, I have to say it would definitely be the Bicycle Dragonback. Honestly, I really don't mind what color, but I really like the reds over the others. And you get 2 jokers. I really like that. All the colorations on this one joker. And the back design is extremely cool and is one of my more favorite back designs. In addition, the handling is relatively decent. This deck handles very nicely, and I have no complaints whatsoever with it. In fact, I think it may handle a bit better for me than the Artisans do, which is why I felt that these Dragonbacks deserved the number 8 spot. Now, moving on to the number 7 deck, the Madison Steelers deck of cards. Now, here in the Steelers deck, you get 2 jokers and a double backer, and in addition, I just really love the faces, all the really nice silver color, and the darker, more crimson type red. However, the back has absolutely no border, it's just a metallic back design. So that's why it didn't go for anything higher than 7, because then when I flip over a card, it just sticks out like a sore thumb, and you don't even have to be flashing more than a couple millimeters, and it's already very visible. Which is why I say that this deck it has a very nice stock. I love the stock on it, and the handling is superb, and so are the faces, but the back design, since it has no border, is just a part of it that I really don't like. For me, my best decks tend to go towards, there must be a border around the sides that matches how the backs are. Since this has a white border on the back, then these should have a white border as well. That is the only reason why it did not go any higher. However, I will say that if you ever see a deck of the Madison Steelers, definitely pick one up. Now, moving on to number 6. Sorry about the background noise. Now, in number 6, we have the Black Tiger deck with red pips. Now, this is a very, very nice deck. And one of the main things that I like about this, there's the double backer, are that both of the Jokers are exactly the same. And that is a major point for me. Because then I can do card sandwiches without actually showing like a gaff Joker or any sort of reveal. And 2 eidetic Jokers just is definitely something that I really like to see in a deck, is 2 Jokers exactly the same. Now the back design I believe is really, really nice, and the pips are very cool, and they are similar to the Black Ghost in many ways, but here I believe the red is more blood red than in the Ghosts. And the handling is just very, very nice on this deck. I have no complaints here, and this is definitely my number 6 choice for most favorite decks of playing cards. Now let's move on to what is number 5. Number 5 for me is definitely the Bicycle Shadow Masters. Just because of how cool everything looks on here. I mean, the Ace of Spades is fantastic. The 2 Jokers look extremely nice. And all the pips just have that very nice feel to them. And I definitely like the pips on here. And handling, as you can see, there are no issues as far as handling is concerned. This deck has definitely earned the number 5 spot. So now let's move on to what is in the 4th place. The Bicycle White Ghost deck is in 4th place. And I've noticed that the White Ghost deck's stock is a bit more flexible and thinner than the Black Ghost deck. And the Jokers I really like, but here the whole back design right there, get into focus, and all the faces, this entire deck just pops for me, and it just looks really nice. As far as handling, as you can see, this deck has no issues there whatsoever. The White Ghost has definitely earned its spot as the number 4 deck, and will always be one of my all-time favorite decks. Now, let's move on to what is the number 3. Number 3 is the White Artifice. Now, the White Artifice has, again, a thinner, more flexible stock than your standard deck of Artifice. And that is why it is in number 3, is it seems a bit too thin for my liking. Now, the Jokers are the standard Artifice Jokers, but this entire deck, the back design, the pips and the faces, especially the Ace of Spades right there, everything about this deck just pops. And as you can see, there are no issues whatsoever here as far as handling goes. I have no problem handling this deck, and absolutely no complaints here. Now let's move on to number 2. Now the second best deck was a very controversial spot for me because it was just so hard to select what was number 1 and what was 2. But number 2, as many of you might guess, are the Monarchs, the standard Monarchs. Now this deck may look familiar to you as it was in fact featured in the Magic show Now You See Me, well, rather movie. And here, 2 Eidetic Jokers, double backer. It's just a very nice deck. I love the back design on here. The handling, as you can see, there are no problems whatsoever with that. This deck is just all around luxury. It is one of my most favorite decks and will always be in my top 10. Now, let's move on to the number 1. Now, my number 1 deck was very closely tied with the Monarchs because it was just so hard to decide between the Monarchs and the number 1 deck that I have selected, which is the Artifice V2, the Sapphire version. Now, I just totally love this deck. It is a very nice deck, in my opinion, and its handling just matches its position. It handles very smoothly, and I have no issues whatsoever performing with this deck. This will always be the number 1 deck on my entire list. And this is my most favorite deck in the number 1 position. And as I've said, it was a very close race when it was the Artifice versus the Monarchs. So, I hope you found this video helpful in deciding which deck you'd like to pick up. Also, I'm curious to know, what is your favorite deck of all of these? If you'd like to tell me, post it in the comments down below. And, as always, thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.